And I'm teaching a Sunday as well at 9 o'clock. That's the all level, and then at 10:30 quick core for just a half an hour. That's just a half an hour. Yeah. Keep those. Oh, I know. You need to recover too. Yeah. All right. Well, happy yogis. Happy Thursday. It's about 4 o'clock, so we'll start our yin yoga class. And it's already September 2nd. So we're starting to get a little bit into fall. It's not fall just yet, but we're gonna get there. So we're gonna get our bodies ready, work on some meridians that have to do with a change of season to have the energy flow a certain way so we can adapt and make it through the change of season, a change of time, the flu season, any of that. So that's my goal, to guide us into those practices that are soothing and healing and comprehensive in many practical and good quality of life and everything else like that. So today we will start sitting back on our heels. So if this is accessible to you, we're just gonna simply sit here. And if we need anything around our ankles, we will put maybe the blanket underneath. So we'll help those lower meridians of the legs to flow properly. There's the intestine and the spleen meridian involved. And we're also stretching the front of the ankles. So let's go ahead and get our breath connection. As we sit back on the heels, start to inhale from the tailbone to the crown. And as you inhale, lift those shoulders and drop them back and down. Open up a little bit more. Then rest your back of the hands on your thighs with an open hand gesture. Your palms are receiving. You find that connection with the breath. Settle down into your body and feel the sensations that arise moment by moment. Your body is still trying to settle down from the day. So any twitches, any movements, just let them be. They'll be out on their way. And your mind will try to review the day and everything like that. Things you have not finished or accomplished. Just let those go too. Just observing the pattern of the mind, the chatter of the mind, and how things always come and go. It's a flow, nothing is permanent. Nothing is forever. Just let things be and let them go. And just noticing how the breath flows in the body. Acknowledge any restrictions, any blockages, any uneasiness in the front of the chest, the throat, or the neck. And hold the breath in those spaces that feel constricted, strained, dark, or shady. Bringing the light, the awareness, the breath energy in those areas to expand, to grow, to let go. Connect with the stillness. If you're not used to this Virasana seated warrior pose, if you don't practice it much, you may get your legs to talk back to you and they may even get numb. But it's just all part of the experience of yoga. It's not always pleasant. It's just how we experience and how we see it or perceive it that makes a difference. So it's okay if the circulation stops for a bit in your legs. Actually, after that happens, you get a stronger flow with more penetration, with more force. So you may open up some blockages. You may infuse new energy in your body, in your legs. So don't be afraid of those temporary sensations of unpleasantness. And there's a practice in yoga that I do most mornings. It's called Sudarshan Kriya, and I sit in this pose for 30 minutes. And towards the end, my legs do get numb, and I'm like, well, that's okay. Then I'll sit cross-legged and I recover. So it's part of being a yogi, just putting up with the extremes to kind of explore the edges and grow out of our customary space. Because if we always stay in the safety of our surroundings, we never grow, we never expand, we never prosper or even experience life differently. So let's just not be fearful of the new experience. All right, and as we move on to the next pose, we're actually gonna get the hands on the floor and toes under. So we're gonna stretch now the back of the legs and the toes. I'm gonna press back a little bit and sink down into the knees and up towards the heels 3 or 4 times to get those toes a little stretch. And then we're gonna find a squat position here. If we need our heels to be higher, get your blanket underneath your heels. So we can have them kind of sitting down. And then we're gonna get our hands in front of the chest. Lift the heart center. I'm gonna open up here into these other meridians of the inner thigh, the groin, and the pelvic floor. We're going to ground into that first chakra, drawing from the earth into our root chakra. And this is also a challenging pose for Western culture because we don't practice this one very much, but it's very conducive for good intestinal health and good digestion and elimination. So let's work on those aspects. As I sit and breathe here. And the focus of the practice today is to really be attentive to the body, to the sensations, to connect with the breath, to listen to the breath in silence, and to quiet the mind. So let the breath be your guru, just take you into the next adventure with the next breath in. And let that exhalation be a letting go, a release, a relaxation point. And let those kumbhakas, those pauses between the inhales and the exhales be the spaces of freedom, of serenity, of peace. Those gaps between the breaths will create tiny gaps between the thoughts. We get those glimpses of eternity, of space and freedom, of enjoyment, of bliss. So not to deny the experience of the body, but when we experience a negative sensation, we do not want to over focus on that. We focus on something else, like the breath or the hand mudra you create, or a thought that is pleasant and positive and fulfilling. Because what we focus on, we increase. All right, that's very good. So let's move on to this one. This is nice and easy, coming onto our belly. We can have the arms crossed and rest our head on the arms, on the forearms. And the left knee is gonna come out to the side. All right, so we're gonna open that left hip. The right leg stays back nice and long. And we're opening the inner thigh, the groin, the lymphatic system on that left side. And first, maybe we have the knee and the ankle in the same line. So make that an easy pose. After a few more breaths, we're gonna change that ankle position. Increasing the flow of energy, the circulation, the chi, the prana force in the body into this inner meridian of the left side. All of inside of the leg is the spleen meridian, which crosses over in the front of the body. And of course, we have the lymphatic flow that is very important to cleanse our blood. So we're activating the armpits as we have them open, and also the groin. Deepen those breaths. Deep and meaningful inhales. Have that little pause. And then lengthen the exhalation with a third more of time than the inhalation. So maybe you inhale for 4, have a pause for 4 counts, and then exhale for 6. So we're going to practice controlling of the breath, which is pranayama. Practice of working with the breath. And once we work with the breath, we can work with many things in the body. We can change the metabolic rate, the heart rate, the mind state. We can soothe and heal the emotions. A lot of good stuff we can accomplish just by working with a simple aspect of the breath. Because most of us in normal life, we breathe very shallowly, very rapidly, very scarcely. we don't get enough energy in the body or the brain to function to our best. So we get to struggle, we get to get stressed or tense or tired or anxious or resentful or whatever emotions, array of emotions that we may have. When we just stop and breathe correctly, everything changes. And this was a nice example of not really totally wanting things to be perfect, like me thinking that we'll have a very quiet yoga session with no music, where we can enjoy the silence and the quietude of the surroundings. But then a crazy airplane comes. But you know what? That is our challenge, to see that also part of the experience and not judge it, not resent it, not try to send it away, but embrace it without creating aversion in the mind. Because the mind has two choices: either like something or it doesn't like it. And when it doesn't like it, guess what? Who suffers? Me and you and you and you. And that is not good for us, of course. And let's gently go ahead and move position. Bring that leg out a little bit more. So we're stretching back in the back of the leg. So we're going to flex that foot and bring it out more. Yeah, so depending on where you are, don't force it. Just be gentle and see where you find your next level. And this time we're going to turn the head to the right. So we have the left cheek toward the floor. You can even place it all the way down on the floor to get a nice neck stretch and vagus nerve enhancement. So the vagus nerve runs up and down the neck, connects with the body, of course, to the brain, and it's next to the scalenes, those muscles that support the head. And it's the vagus nerve for stimulation of increase of serotonin. So when we work with our neck and strengthen our neck, we work on our happiness level. The modern science realized that, and they make a vagus nerve stimulation device for people that are severely depressed, so they can help them live a better, more fulfilling life. But as yogis, we don't need those devices. So we can create those things naturally. All right, let's go ahead and bring that left knee back in and stretch the leg back behind you. And this time we're gonna bend the right knee, bring it out to the side. And bring your forehead back onto both arms, onto your forearms. Open up, find that perfect place where you can be still and comfortable, right on the edge between comfort and discomfort. And find that space where you can hold for a couple of minutes. And bring nourishment, nurturing, oxygen, circulation, chi into this right side of the body. The groin, the inner thigh, the patellar ligaments, the ankle, into the armpits. Connect to the rhythm of your breath. Find stillness in the pose. And let the time lapse take effect. Those are the three main principles of Yin Yoga. The breath, the stillness, the time effect. This is where you get to come back to you, be with your body, have a conversation, a dialogue, check in, see what parts of you are there, which parts of you are not. We get defragmented in the world. People pull us in different directions. We have to respond to many demands. Time to get back together here on your mat. And we also learn safe boundaries when we get in the world. Because people are not supposed to take advantage of each other. And we need to remind ourselves of that and teach others that as well. Self-respect will bring respect from others. And self-respect comes with self-love. And that is also something that we struggle with. So why not love who you are? No matter how perfect or imperfect your skin may look in your morning, or your hair, or your body, there's nothing to do with it. Just remember who you are and where you came from, your essence, your truth, your being. And as you dwell in that, nothing can faze you or take you away or sweep from under your feet. And be always in the present, in the fullness of you. That's all we should practice. And let's stretch the leg out, flexing that foot, stretching out a little bit more. And you may want to turn your head to the opposite direction of that stretched leg, and maybe put the cheek directly on the floor to stimulate the right side of the neck from the base of the neck into the occipital lobe, right behind your ear. All right, let's get that knee back to a bend and bring it back in. Stretch the leg back and get your hips comfortable. Now lift into a seal pose. We're gonna have the hands out in the front. Stretch them out and lift the chest. So the hips are on the floor, rib cage is off. And we're lifting the head, and then make sure your neck is relaxed but still lifted. If this is too much, having your arms out, you can drop to the elbows and make it more like a halfway cobra. But if you strengthen your arms and stretch them, you may get more benefit in your shoulders and base of the neck. Then let your shoulders sink. Drawing the energy into the lumbar spine now, into this sway curve of the spine, into the second chakra, which is the sexuality chakra, the connection, connectivity, and creativity and creation as well. And we need all of those things. We need to stay connected with ourselves and with others. We need to enjoy our sexual life in a healthy, meaningful way. And we get to enjoy the creative part of us and the creation part as women. We get to be like gods and we get to create human beings with this second chakra. So acknowledge all this part of you that has to do with the Svadhisthana, the second chakra in the body. The relational center of you. Fill those lungs with air, hold it in, accentuate that space, create more space in the lungs. We usually use about 300 cc's capacity in the lungs, and we have about 3,000 available. So let's increase that availability of oxygenated blood in the lungs. And as you hold, you expand the lungs. And as you lengthen the exhale, you increase your level of relaxation throughout the body. You increase the level of mindfulness, concentration, and creativity in the mind. And we also learn to let go. We hang on to too many things, too many thoughts, too many ideas, preconceived notions. And we just need to learn, relearn to let go, let go. Release those elbows down. Let's make sure the neck is released. So move it a little bit side to side and then circle it around. And maybe the other direction. All right, very good. Let's move on to the next one. We'll have our knees on our blanket now. We're gonna sit back on the heels, but this time we're gonna get our hands back to open up the chest and the shoulders. So it's an open heart, open chest, open neck, open throat. Just leaning the head back, exploring here this open chest, proud postures. Just like the rooster staying out his chest, not for a fight, but to show who we are, how strong we are. Encourage yourself to breathe deep, to be bold and steadfast in your presence, in your awareness, in your body, in your mind. And we let go of fears and anxiety when we do chest openers. So if any emotions of that sort come through, now they're on their way out. Fear, anger, resentment get stored in our chest, in our rib cage, around the heart. And they can withhold us from experience life truly. And we just know we can let them go. And we also know that any of those experiences or negative emotions we may go through, they're not really ours, they're not embedded in our system, they are projections of other people upon us. So then we can just send them back out into the universe. And this opens our throat, neck chakra for speech and communication, where we can increase our ability to speak our truth and to stand for ourselves. Also great for thyroid and parathyroid, thymus gland, and cervical 6 and 7. Pineal gland, because we have our forehead open to the sky. We may even look up and connect the eyes between the eyebrows and then close the eyelids, keeping the eyelids up, the eyeballs up. So you have that internal gaze in the third eye, connecting deeper within. Get a glimpse looking down through the window of the soul. Getting a peek into your true existence. Because that's where life happens, right here, right now in your body, not outside in the world. That is life happening to you, where you choose to live life in you. Your way, your version of it, and you have control. All right, let's slowly release that. And maybe the wrists need a little help, so let's stretch them a little bit, circle them around. Maybe we feel the neck a little tight, so let's see if we move it side to side. Just see what feels good, because your body will tell you. All right, so now we're gonna do just a 1 minute of camel pose. So knees are still on the mat, on the blanket. And we're gonna support our low back with our hands. And our thumb is on the outside of the hips. Toes are under to help us out. And we're pressing the hips out and chest up and drop the head gently. So it's just a second variation of the one we just done. Maybe a little bit more advanced, but don't go too far. Just find an edge where it feels comfortable and not forcing. This activates our groin, our hip flexors, the quadriceps, and the psoas. Connecting all the way in the third thoracic vertebrae. And at the heart level on the left side, it's at the heart level. So the psoas is the muscle of emotion. So releasing any negativity from this psoas muscles. All right, not too long on this one, so let's come on out slowly. We're gonna hinge forward a little bit to lengthen that spine. Put the hands out in front and stop in a tabletop for a moment. Squeeze the navel to the spine. And then do 3 cat-cows to move the energy around in that lower back. Now we worked a little bit around the neck, and I feel like we need to go more directly into the neck. So now let's sit cross-legged. And you can still have your blanket underneath if you need to. Okay. And now the right hand is going to go underneath your right glutes with your fingertips towards the front. So the right arm is nice and long from shoulder to wrist is nicely aligned. And we'll drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Yeah. So we're opening up the side of the neck all the way into the shoulder and arm. All these meridians are going to activate. And now if you need a little bit more different, we're going to accentuate the left arm going across the right knee. Stay here a little bit, and then we can add on the next one, where the left hand goes on the outside of the head on the right. And let's stay at the knee a little bit more. So now we're really stretching those compressed vertebrae of the neck. The heaviness of the head, of course, compresses our cervical vertebrae first, and then the gravity sinks us down even more. So we need these openings, we need these inversions and everything else like that to create that space, that interstitial space between the vertebrae. So we don't shrink and compress and contract as we age. We're gonna keep our toned spine, we're gonna keep our energy, we're gonna keep the fluid, we're gonna keep those spaces, those cushionings between the vertebrae so we don't get cramped nerves and vertebrae rubbing against each other and getting fused and so forth. All right, now let's move the hand to the head and see if you keep that position straight to the side and your arms is straight down. You're really opening the whole right side in such a great and meaningful way that your neck is gonna thank you 10,000 times. And you will prevent every kind of migraine headaches you may get because of tension and compression, because of poor circulation in the head, because everything has to flow through the neck. The neck is the highway to the brain and to the body. And ironically enough, we have more sensory output towards the brain from the body. 80% of the impulses travel from the body to the head. But if this is compressed, it's not going to work. Only 20% goes from the CNS to the anatomical nervous system. So it's kind of like inverse than what you would think. You think that the brain controls everything, but the brain receives a lot of feedback from the body. 80% is this way, and only 20% down to up to down. All right, and one more breath here. Really enjoy this stretch. I'll stay here 2 more minutes. One of my favorites. I feel like I'm getting myself a chiropractor adjustment. I'll put the chiropractors out of commission. All right, inhale, come back up gently. And let's release that side and take a moment and really feel how you experience the two sides now. See which one you like more. You feel like your left side is really short, right? So let's go to the other side. Left hand under the left glutes. And we'll gently drop that right ear towards the right shoulder. Start where it feels comfortable, then the gravity is going to help you. The right hand goes to the left knee, just creating a cross of energy in the front of the body through the arm. And connect with the breath. Decompressing, releasing, readjusting, creating space. Freedom of movement, freedom of circulation. So our brains can work at full capacity as long as we need them to. We learn to be patient and present in our bodies, no matter how it feels. We can run away from this body, from this experience. This is our vehicle in this worldly life we have. And it's a learning experience. We come here to learn and grow and get closer and closer to where we came from. And as we do that, we just don't need to come back anymore. And move the hand to the side of the head if that feels good now. See what your body is telling you. Your body, your feedback is your best teacher. I'm just a guide. All right, bring it back gently. Release that hand. And I'll just bring the shoulders up, squeeze them, and exhale, release them down. 2 more times. Inhale, squeeze. Exhale, let go. 1 more time. Good. Chin to the chest. Inhale, look up. Chin to the chest, exhale. 1 more time, inhale. Chin to the chest and circle 3 times to the right. Very slow. Use your gaze to accentuate the circular movements of the eyes for good peripheral vision. And reverse. And just go every millimeter of the way, checking in with the neck vertebrae. And see if there's any way else you need to release, and maybe stop there and let that happen. All right. Let's lean forward a little bit. Just let the head hang, releasing any back neck tension. Soften into the breath. Let go into the experience of gravity. Let go of doing, just being. Inhale, walk it back in. All right, so clear off your mat. We're gonna get into deer legs. So left knee is gonna stay square to one edge of the mat and right knee and right ankle to the other edge of the mat. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna sit up tall right in the center of that. Yeah, good. Lengthen up and find your breath. Close the eyes and just get into the internal experience of this pose, which is going to take your mind in different directions, different geometrical shapes. And just breathe and make sure you adjust what doesn't feel comfortable. And now we'll add something to the pose, stabilize into the right hand and inhale, bring the left arm up. And exhale, bring it slightly over, just opening up the left side. Yeah. Just explore here, see how it feels. Lengthening through the arm, which is the lung and the heart meridian. Inside the arm, it's your heart meridian. Outside the arm is the lung. And also we open up through the shoulder joint, through the armpit, through the lats, and side body, all the way from the hip crest. Breathe into the side of the heart, getting through those fake layers of protection. We gathered over time to protect our hearts, our soul, ourselves. But I also create a shield against experiencing love and connection. All right, now let's travel with the palm right between the shoulder blades, getting that elbow up. Good, and move the right hand to the left knee. All right, release the right hand and the left hand. Now this will be easier. Left hand on the floor, right arm up and over. Reach up first. And then exhale, stretch it over. We can even bend the left elbow. And lengthen and stretch the right side. And now bring that arm up and around the waist. And bring the gaze down to the left side. Patience is a virtue, and it's not such a virtue anymore in this society, because everything is so rushed, everything is so much about production and doing, and we forget that we need to be also. Because first we need to be in order to do. So let's bring that right hand up and over to the left, extending over this side. Just coming down as far as you can to the hands or the elbows, leaning over that left knee. Nice. And take a few breaths here. See where you find yourself here. Just a different experience of this body. We're just exploring every little inch of our body today, from the toes to the head. Being curious like little children, just see how this feels, see what that does, see what that says. Just explore every little room you find in your body and 1,000 rooms in your heart that maybe you haven't been in a while. Because I only get to stay in the atrium of the heart. But there's another atrium and 2 ventricles, and then 1,000 more inside of those 4. All kinds of little chambers we can explore. Forgotten corners, dusty corners, shady, dark. It's okay. It's all part of us. Don't deny it. Don't hide from it. Don't shy away. They need to be seen. Because we're not always been just angels. There's stuff we've done or said or experienced that wasn't the best, but it was not all what it was, and we just let it go. Because we are our worst judges as human beings. We learned to judge and we got stuck there. Alrighty, let's come on up very gently. And we'll explore into the other side, switching the position of the legs. So right knee comes front and left knee to the other side. So we get this hip to experience different way of being. Okay, now stabilizing the center first. This side may feel a little bit more different, more challenging or less challenging. And find a pose where you can be still and listen and feel inside. And see if there's an observer. You are observing your body now. You're observing the experience of the moment. So you are the observer, and then there must be something else, somebody else in the room, right? So the observer is our ego, is the created entity we made up after we are born. And the doer, the experiencer, it's the true self. Your inner being, your true being, your soul. So we just need to realize that, because sometimes we think we are the ego, but ego is self-created. And because it's self-created, it's not ever strong enough. The more you strengthen it, actually, the weaker it gets, because there's no essence to it. And that's why we get hurt when your ego is so strong. You get hurt because the ego is weak, not because you're weak. Inside of you, you're strong. But we kind of run away from that true essence, and we become this ego, these masks we wear, these things we become and do, and we identify with them so much that we forget who we truly are. So let's come back and acknowledge that essence inside of us and bow to that, and know that it's always there, always true, always pure, ever present, never dying. Right arm up, inhale, and reach over to the left. And maybe travel with your left hand to the right knee if that feels right. And just breathe and open into your right side. And now bring that hand between the shoulder blades. Lift that elbow up. See how much more you can open into the armpit, to that side of the neck. And your body will process all of this work that we've done, sometimes instantly or for the next 24 to 48 hours. So you may get all these glimpses of releases all along the next couple of days. This is deep work, mentally, physically, emotionally, on all levels, spiritually, psychologically, in all kinds of different ways. And release that right hand down. And this time, left arms up. And reach over and just bend into that right elbow to stretch deeper. See how that feels. And breathe into that heart center. And look up under your arm. Looking up between the eyebrows, maybe connect with your intuition, inspiration, concentration. Be that evolved, inspired human being that knows what's right and knows what's true and knows who it is. You know who you are and know whose you are. So that's it. That's all we need to know. And bring that arm back and then lean over your right knee, coming over to the side and see where you are here. All right, I'm gonna come on up with this one nice and easy, and we'll transition to our full Shavasana for the next couple of minutes. You can get your bolster on your spine if you want to keep the chest really open. Put it right against your tailbone and drop down on that. Or you can go without a bolster, whichever feels good. Your hips are on the floor if you're on the bolster. So you have a nice sway back and open chest, and arms come to the side, relaxed. Just nicely open, legs are open. And you come into full relaxed, letting go, sinking in, dropping down, and letting go more. You come into receiving modes, recovery modes, processing all the benefits of all the poses, soaking them into the body, into the experience. And let's bring the left hand to the belly, right hand to the middle of the chest. Now let's tell ourselves this mantra. I am free. I am liberated. I am enough. I am loved, and I am me. I am free. I am liberated. I am myself. I am true. I am enough. I am me. And because of that, I am accepted and I am loved. And I infuse that throughout all my body pores. So my body, my existence knows. Let's seal that in with the next breath from the belly to the heart to the mind. Exhale fully. Breathing in one more time, stretching the arms up overhead. Lengthen the body. Turn to your right side, bend the knees. Curl up in a ball and give your body a big hug. Stay there with your body for a bit. Just kind of the same way as you come out of the womb in this position. You raise up and you feel your aliveness and your energy. So coming up to sit when you are ready, being refreshed, rejuvenated, renewed, and reborn on all levels. Let's come back to the heart center. Being grateful for our practice, for the time we allowed ourselves to be on the mat, to share this presence, this practice with each other. It's my pleasure and my honor to guide you. Namaste. All right, girls, so good, you made it. How do you feel? Oh, so good rest is just what we need right now. Just go home and take a nap, right?
Thank you,
Yeah. Thank you, Peggy. See you soon. Join me Sunday if you can. I know it's a holiday weekend, but yeah, this time I'm staying in town. No more trips for a bit for me.